Welcome to the SWAYAM course of Fundamental of Computational Biology. Myself Shilpi Banerjee is here to discuss about circulatory system. Circulatory system is also known as cardiovascular system, which consists of the organs and fluids that transport materials like oxygen and nutrients throughout the body. All vertebrates have a closed circulatory system in which the blood plasma and cells remain within blood vessels. This is opposed to an open circulatory system in which the blood surrounds organs and tissues in an open chamber. In birds and mammals, the primary organ of the cardiovascular system is a 4-chambered heart with its associated blood vessels. In other vertebrates, the heart can have either 2 or 3 chambers. Many invertebrates have an open circulatory system where blood, which is also known as hemolymph, bathes the cells and organs. Some of these organisms, like the octopus, can have multiple hearts spread across their body. Open versus closed circulatory systems have evolved in different lineages over time. As you can see in this pictorial representation of circulatory system of human beings, we can see that the circulatory system is present all over the body. As it moves blood around the system, it is both bringing oxygen to the tissues and carrying away the waste products they create. The circulatory system also has many functions related to delivering hormones, allowing the passage of immune cells, and other functions related to coordinating and maintaining a multicellular organism. Let us take a closer look some of these functions. Animal evolution has resulted in an increasing degree of specialization within tissues and organs. For example, simple multicellular organisms like sponges have structures where every cell interacts directly with the environment. Each cell exchanges molecules with the environment, obtains nutrients from the environment and expels its waste products directly outside. In larger and more complex animals, this is much difficult since there are many cells present deep inside the organism that interact minimally with the external environment. Therefore, each of the basic functions of an organism has to be accomplished by a specialized set of organs. For example, the digestive system is specialized for efficiently extracting useful nutrients from food. Similarly, the respiratory system deals with exchange of gases, while the nervous and endocrine systems are involved in coordination and homeostasis. In order to sustain each of these organ systems, the body needs a circulatory system. The circulatory system allows every cell to derive sustenance, be protected from pathogens, communicate with other cells and exist in a relatively constant microenvironment. Now, let us look at the example of circulatory system function. The underlying function of the circulatory system is transportation. This basic function carries many different substances to and from different parts of the body. The intricate network of blood vessels that surrounds the small intestine absorbs the end products of digestion. The pituitary gland, situated deep within the brain, releases hormones that influence the musculoskeletal, integumentary and reproductive systems. These hormones are carried to the their targeted organs and cells throughout the circulatory system. Within alveoli in the lungs, oxygen from the air diffuses into capillaries where it binds to the protein hemoglobin, which is basically present in the red blood cell RBC. Through this carrier protein, blood delivers oxygen to every cell within the body. Blood also plays an important role in maintaining the pH of the body. This particularly is very important since pH influences the efficiency and effectiveness of every biomolecule. Temperature regulation is also carried out by circulatory system. When the body temperature rises, there is vasodilation in the skin, leading to heat loss. During cold temperatures, blood vessels supply blood to the limbs constrict. This constriction preserves body heat for critical internal organs. Finally, blood and lymph contain antibodies and immune cells. This includes the cells of innate immunity present from birth as well as the adaptive immunity acquired through exposure to pathogens. Now, let us look at the different parts of circulatory system. The circulatory system consists of the heart, blood vessels, lymph and lymphatic vessels. While the heart is the largest organ of the circulatory system, it is really only a large blood vessel surrounded by different muscles. The arteries and veins themselves are sometimes considered together as an interconnected organ that spans throughout the body. Now, let us look at the heart. In human beings, the heart has 4 chambers which consist of 2 arteria and 2 ventricles. The arteria are the receiving chambers and receive blood from veins. On the other hand, ventricles are designed to be efficient pumps, sending blood into arteries. Oxygenated blood from the lung arrives through the pulmonary vein to the left atrium. It then passes into the left ventricle through the mitral valve during arterial systole or contraction. During ventricular systole, this blood is pumped into the aorta, which has to be circulated in the body through arteries, arterioles and capillaries. The exchange of materials occur through the single-celled endothelial walls of capillaries. Deoxygenated blood from various tissues then returns to the right atrium of the heart through 2 major veins, that is the superior and inferior vena cava. Once deoxygenated blood reaches the right ventricle through the tricuspid valve, it is pumped to the lungs during ventricle systole through the pulmonary artery. In the lungs, gas exchange occurs within the alveoli. This is a diagram of the heart which shows the deoxygenated, it has been marked in blue, and oxygenated blood which has been marked in red. How their flow takes place, everything which has been already discussed previously has been clearly indicated in this pictorial representation of the heart. The images which has been shown clearly indicates the 4 chamber of the heart along with major blood vessels and valves. The circulatory system in humans can therefore be divided into 2 loops that center around the heart. The first is called the pulmonary circulation and it carries blood between the heart and lungs. The other one is extensive loop, which is known as systemic circulation and begins from the aorta and supplies oxygen, nutrients to all the tissues of the body, including the muscles of the heart. Now, let us look at the blood vessels. There are majorly two types of blood vessels, those that bring blood towards the heart are called veins, and those that carry blood from the heart towards other tissue and organs are called arteries. Hope the difference between artery and vein is clear. Arteries and veins now undergo repeated branching to produce arterioles and venules. The thinnest blood vessels are capillaries, made up of a single layer of squamous epithelial cells. Now, these thin tubular structures are the primary site for the exchange of materials between the circulatory system. Now, this pictorial representation is of the blood vessels. The image which has been shown in the previous slide indicates how the arteries and veins are connected through capillaries. The blue represents deoxygenated one and the red one represents oxygenated blood. This is a real color phenomenon seen in blood. Arterial blood is usually bright red in color because of the large amount of oxygen it carries, while venous blood is darker and more blue or purple. The blood drawn for routine test is often from the veins. Arteries of the systemic circulation contains oxygenated blood, while the veins bring deoxygenated blood containing high amount of carbon dioxide towards the heart. The reverse is true for pulmonary circulation, since the blood receives oxygen in the lungs, then makes its way back to the heart to be pumped out of the body. Now, let us look at this lymphatic circulation. Through the lymphatic system, it is sometimes considered to be separated from the circulatory system. Basically, their functions overlap with each other. Interstitial fluid is a colorless solution that baths all the cells of the body and forms a major component of the extracellular fluid ECF. It is formed due to the hydrostatic force of the blood in capillaries, which causes water, ions and small molecules from the circulatory system to escape. Interstitial fluid is similar to blood plasma in many ways. Some of this fluid starts to flow into the extended open-ended network of tubular structures forming the lymphatic circulation. This fluid is now called lymph and passes through lymph nodes, where pathogens, damaged cells or cancerous cell can be trapped or destroyed. Metabolic waste and cells remnants are then moved towards the bloodstream and processed before being expelled or excreted as a body waste. This pictorial representation is nothing but very clearly, as you all can see, the lymphatic system, which is sometimes considered a part of the circulatory system. The lymph vessels weave through capillaries to absorb all of the fluid they lose and transfer it back into the circulatory system. The lymph nodes flow in the direction to carry this fluid back towards the neck, where it is dumped back into the subclavian veins. This is how the fluid re-enters the circulatory system. One of the important functions of the lymphatic system is to maintain the fluid homeostasis between the liquid in blood and the fluid content of the tissue fluid. A properly functioning network of lymph vessels and nodes prevents edema, contributes to immunity and is very much crucial for the absorption of fats and fat soluble vitamin. Now, let us look at how does the circulatory system work. The circulatory system is mainly driven by the heart. The pressure created in the heart pushes blood into the arteries. the arteries expand within the pressure and the blood is forced all the way into the smallest capillaries. Veins are surrounded by a variety of smooth muscles and these muscles help move blood through the lower pressure veins and back to the heart. Other activities like large muscle movements can also help drive blood through the system. In general, it only takes a human about a minute to circulate a portion of blood through the entire system and back to the heart. Now, let us look at the structure of the circulatory system. As a whole, the circulatory system has a general pattern, structure and flow. Blood starts in the heart where it is split into two patterns of circulation. The pulmonary circulation goes to the lung and back to the heart. This circuit is used to oxygenate the lungs. Then the blood re-enters the heart and is pumped through the systemic circulation. These veins and arteries serve the body and have a standardized setup. First, arteries carry oxygenated blood towards the tissues. As the arteries get closer to their target tissue, they get smaller and smaller, eventually leading to capillaries. Capillaries are the smallest of all vessels and they serve as the site of gas exchange in the tissues. On the other side of capillaries, the veins start. So, veins carry deoxygenated blood along with various waste products back towards the heart. The waste products will be now excreted in the lungs or they are filtered by the liver or kidney. In other animals, the circulatory system can vary widely. It helps to describe how the closed circulatory system of humans and other mammals work. Fish, let us say fish on the other hand, have only two chambered heart and the entire circulatory system is much simpler. Other organisms such as insects and other invertebrates may have an open circulatory system. This forms circulatory system which is simply consisting of organs and tissues in a blood like fluid, but does not actually contain veins or arteries. Still, other animals like the octopus have multiple hearts to accomplish the task of the circulatory system. Now, this as an example you can see is the open circulatory system of a cockroach. Now, let us look at the various disease of circulatory system. Disease of circulatory system often center around an inability of any of these parts to function properly. The very common is arteriosclerosis, for instance, which is nothing but a build-up of a fatty plaque on the artery walls. This increases the pressure, but decreases the flow of the blood. The heart must work harder to overcome these blockages. Diseases of the circulatory system often cause other conditions like a heart attack or stroke. The circulatory system is a vast network of tubes and acts as the lifeline for the body. It transports a number of substances from every cell and tissue towards their ultimate destination. This could be toxic substances which needs to be metabolized in the liver, hormones that needs to be delivered to target organs, or nutrient and oxygen required by every cell. However, the extensive nature of the circulatory system with tubular structures of varying diameters and histology makes it vulnerable to many different kinds of disease. Among these, the formation of fatty plaques in blood vessels and clotting disorders that inhibit the body's response to injury are particularly very harmful. The second disorders associated with circulatory system is again similar to arteriosclerosis, atherosclerosis, which is nothing but a general term used for hardening and stiffening of arteries and arterioles, which results in an impairment of the circulatory system to supply crucial nutrients to different parts of the body. Since arteries must remain elastic to accommodate blood pressure, if the walls of an artery or arteriole become stiff, they can no longer adapt to the fluid pressure generated by every heartbeat, which results in an extra strain on the heart muscles. Next is atherosclerosis. Among the variety of causes for atherosclerosis, the formation of fatty plaque that occludes the blood vessel is called atherosclerosis. It begins with an injury to the inner endothelial wall of the artery or arteriole from pollutants or maybe through the presence of large amount of low density lipoprotein, that is LDL, and cholesterol. This hampers the barrier function of the endothelial and allows cholesterol and other LDLs to move towards the inner tissue of arterial wall. The presence of these molecules in the damaged area activates the immune system, recruiting macrophages to the site. Now, this pictorial representation is of how the progression of atherosclerosis takes place, that is the formation of plaques over the endothelial cells. When there is a large amount of LDL in the plaque, macrophages are unable to clear the site and undergo necrosis, forming a core of dead cell within the walls of the arteries. This is followed by the calcification of the plaque as well as the formation of a fibrous cap around the entire structure. These events increase resistance to blood flow and reduce the diameter and elasticity of the blood vessel. Over the time, these plaques could get partially disconnected from the artery wall, exposing the inner necrotic cells to blood and result in blood clotting. They could also get dislodged completely and move towards smaller blood vessels and occlude them completely. Atherosclerosis can lead to a number of illness based on the blood vessel affected. If the arteries supplying blood to the heart are affected, it can lead to angina, that is pain in the chest, cardiac infection or cardiac arrest. Atherosclerosis can result in an increase in blood pressure when the arteries of the kidney are partially or completely blocked. Complete blockage of any blood vessel supplying critical oxygen and glucose to the brain results in stroke, with possible irremediable damage to neurons and nerve tissue. If blood vessels supplying oxygenated blood to the limbs or extremities are affected, it can lead to necrosis of tissues and potentially result in gangrene. The next disorder associated with circulatory system is peripheral arterial disease. In peripheral arterial disease, the blood flow in the arteries of the leg is restricted. This is usually due to buildup of plaque in the arteries. Next is heart attack. During a heart attack, a blockage of blood flow to the heart muscle leads to death of heart muscle tissue. It is also known as myocardial infarction. Angina, which has been already discussed, is basically where the heart muscle is not getting enough blood. So, this leads to crushing chest pain, fatigueness, nauseatic feeling and shortness of breath. Next disorder associated is mitral valve condition. In mitral valve prolapse, mitral valve stenosis or mitral valve regurgitation, probable MS with the mitral valve cause oxygenated blood in the heart to flow backward, or blood flow has to be slowed down or constricted. Next is arrhythmitis or dysthymitis, which is associated with this. These terms are both used to describe a heart rate that is abnormal. Next is ischemia. In ischemia, there is not enough blood flow in the heart and muscles do not get enough oxygen. Next is aortic disease. This group of conditions affects the aorta. One very common example is aortic aneurysm, where the aorta is weak and bulges out. In summary, the circulatory system is a vital bodily system that ensures the continuous flow of blood, nutrients and oxygen to all cells while removing the waste products. It plays a critical role in maintaining the overall health and homeostasis in the body. Preventing circulatory system disorders is crucial for maintaining overall health and well-being. Many circulatory system disorders such as heart disease, stroke, hypertension can often be prevented or managed through lifestyle changes and proactive health measures. Let us look at some of the key strategies which are used for preventing circulatory system disorders. Number 1, by taking healthy diet. Eating a balanced diet which includes lot of fruits, vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats helps us to ensure to get more essential nutrients. It is very much important to limit the intake of sodium. By reducing the salt intake will automatically help us to control the blood pressure, as excessive or high intake of sodium can contribute to hypertension. Limiting the saturated and trans fat can also help us to reduce the disadvantages associated with taking saturated and trans fat. These fats can raise cholesterol levels, increasing the risk of heart attack. The second is regular exercise. Aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of something daily associated exercise. It is very much important to maintain a healthy weight. Achieving and maintaining a healthy weight reduces the strain on your heart and lowers the risk of conditions like hypertension and type 2 diabetes. Next preventive measures is not to smoke. Smoking is a significant risk factor for circulatory system disorders, especially heart disease and stroke. Quitting smoking is one of the most important steps which we can take for our overall health. Apart from smoking, limiting alcohol intake is also very much beneficial for keeping us safe from circulatory system disorders. If we drink alcohol, do it in moderation. It is very much important to take limited amounts. Excessive alcohol consumption can increase or raise the blood pressure. It is important to manage stress as well. Well, in today's lifestyle, we cannot actually avoid stress completely, but taking stress in every minute thing may lead to increase in the blood pressure. This may in turn result in pressure on the heart. So, chronic stress can negatively impact the circulatory system. We need to practice stress reduction techniques like meditation, mindfulness. It is very important to be regular with health checkups also. We need to regularly visit our healthcare provider for checkups and screening, detecting if any risk factor is present, especially if there is some problem flowing from one generation to other generation. Next is, it is very important to control the blood pressure and the cholesterol level. If we have hypertension or high cholesterol, we need to work very efficiently and diligently, not only with ourselves, but also along with the recommendation of our healthcare practitioner. Next is to manage diabetes. If we have diabetes, we need to keep our blood sugar level at check constantly. Diabetes basically attracts or mimics other disorders. It is very important to know the family history as well. Be aware of your family's medical history, as genetics play a very important role in transferring disorders from one generation to other generation. It is very important to avoid illicit drug use also, because the use of illicit drugs can have serious cardiovascular consequences. Seek help if you have a substance abuse problem. Next is the next most easy way to prevent, to keep at least ourselves at bay from the disorders of circulatory system, is to keep ourselves hydrated continuously. Adequate hydration helps to maintain healthy blood flow and circulation. Third, next preventive measure is to follow medication very seriously. If you are under medication supervision and you have been prescribed medication for any circulatory system disorder, it needs to be taken and directed by the healthcare provider, and never do that all by yourself. By incorporating these preventive measures into our lifestyle, we can significantly reduce the risk of developing circulatory system disorders and promote the long term cardiovascular health. It is very much essential to consult with a healthcare professional to create a personalized prevention plan and tailored according to our human body. Definitely result in good health, overall good health, and keep us safe from different diseases associated with circulatory system. I understand that by it is very easy to say that by simply keeping good lifestyle, avoiding drugs, by avoiding alcohol, by avoiding smoking, cardiovascular system, circulatory system will not be affected. It is very easy to say that even by not taking stress, we can control the level of disorders associated with circulatory system. But yes, by taking baby steps, let us say by keeping ourselves hydrated, by managing our lifestyle properly, by not taking stress for every minute things, by going for regular checkups, and by taking simple things in count, we can definitely keep our entire system very in a good manner. So, thank you very much. I hope I have been able to clear the concept of circulatory system and its association with the brain, the heart, and in fact the entire body. Thank you very much.